Hi, this is Renee Stanley from Movie Review Relay, and today we're talking about the Grammys and other movie news that we've learned through the week. I'm so glad you could join us. Welcome in. Alright, so the Grammys were held on Sunday night. Trevor Noah was the MC, and he always does a marvelous job when he MCs. This is a young man who started off, everyone knows The Daily Show was his big, broad show that captivated America, and he's transformed himself. Yeah, he started off with a little short cut. Now he has this huge, beautiful afro. You got to ease into the situation, taking on big shoes, right? From Jon Stewart to where he is now. I must tell you, first of all, it was a fabulous show. The show was taped in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the MGM, one of the biggest hotels in the area. And oh my goodness, what a beautiful set. They did some things remotely, and then they did some things, of course, right on set. But I have to tell you, there is a reason why a lot of people are not watching these award shows like they used to. But music is very important in our culture, and I would say in any culture. Because what happens is, when you're inside the house or when you're working, music can set a mood. It can set a mood for you. You can be happy if you hear your favorite song. It brings back memories. Maybe the first time you heard the song was years ago when you were young, and maybe you're not so young anymore. But yet you still adore the sound. And you love when you see our musicians from the age that we grew up in. You see them again, and they're growing old with us. Yeah, that's fine. We're glad that they're around, because that means we're still around too to see them. So it's wonderful to see people like Lenny Kravitz, who has no right to look as young and as good as he does. But yeah, there he is, looking gorgeous. Yeah, he was at the close of the show. But we'll start right at the top. Silk Sonic, who won multiple awards. We're going to talk more about these artists more in depth in our podcast, which I'll leave a link to our podcast in the description. But Silk Sonic won, Bruno Mars. You might as well say Bruno Mars won. Because he's the big guy everyone's talking about. Although I have to say, I didn't know who Anderson .Paak. I didn't know them, but I know their music. If you watch the film, The 10 Rings, with Marvel, the one that Marvel put out this past year, there's a song that they play at the end credits. Fire in the Sky, that's your guy. If you didn't know, because I had to think about it, I said, who's Anderson .Paak? And then I realized he's on my music directory, on my library. And yeah, he's just fantastic. They did a wonderful show together. Another big winner was, besides Silk Sonic, was our guy from Stephen Colbert's The Late Show. His name is Jon Baptiste. And I have to say, I always loved Jon Baptiste. I didn't think he was the best vocalist. I didn't think he had the best vocal chops. However, this young man is just so... Forget that he's a gorgeous looking thing. He really is. God bless him. He said he got married in secret 8 months ago. Yeah, that's right. Good. I'm glad you did that. Because girls will still be crying over you right now. Which is cute little stuff. Okay. But Jon Baptiste has such a wonderful personality. You can understand why anyone would love this young man. And he got on the stage, and I never knew he could dance like that. I mean, he would do a little dancing on the Late Show, with Stephen Colbert. But he had this huge set, beautifully decorated. All of his dancers looked wonderful, and they all did a wonderful job. They were all in step. It was awesome. But what he said in his acceptance speech near the end of the show, he said, "I love you, even if I don't know you." Wasn't that sweet? And I know you said, "Oh, it's sappy, Renee. Knock it off." No. It's just nice when people are nice. It's just nice to see civility, people being pleasant, no craziness that happened like last week. We're talking about the actual winners. Another person I was happy for was Bonnie Raitt. Oh, Bonnie Raitt, I love her. Give me something to talk about. But just her whole career, she's had this wonderful hits, a wonderful songwriter, a beautiful person from what I understand. She's another one who is just civil, nice. You never hear her saying awful things or coming at somebody. Oh, God. Those are the days we long for, when people were just nice to one another. And everybody at the Grammy seemed to have a good time. I saw my girl SZA, looking beautiful. She was on crutches. And then, who else was there? Oh, okay, Jasmine Sullivan. I have to tell you about her. Some of you know Jasmine. I remember Jasmine years ago when she sang a song called Bust Your Windows. Yeah, believe it or not. And I'm a peaceful person. But when she sang this song, Bust Your Windows, I felt like putting my coat on, going outside, finding somebody's car, and busting the windows out their car. That's how wonderful she sang. If you ever heard the song, you should hear it again, because she just has this lovely voice. There's some singers who, again, like I said, Jon Baptiste didn't have the best voice, but he's just a wonderful entertainer and wonderful person. I get it. Jasmine Sullivan has a golden voice. God just gives, you know how your voice is made. Yeah, you need your lungs, you need your nasal passages open. Everything has to be just so that you're like, it's your instrument. So whatever comes out of your voice, the tone cannot be taught. So a singer's tone is something that they're born with. They can learn how to sing, they can learn inflection, the scale, all these runs, that's fine. But Jasmine Sullivan has a golden voice. Now, is she the only one? Of course not. There was a lot of good singers there, but I'm just saying, she's just outstanding. Let us see who doesn't get as much, she's not as mainstream as some of the other singers that were on the stage. She's another one that has such a beautiful voice, but they don't have the recognition. And my thought is, along with this beautiful voice, you have to have wonderful songs. I love Christina Aguilera, which I didn't see last night, but I'm just saying. But I love her because this girl has both. She knows how to sing, and she has a God gift of tone, a beautiful tone, just so wonderfully done. You know, everything she does. All right, so BTS. Yeah, you guys are doing rhythm and blues. That's fine. The production was wonderful. They look great. Again, wonderful singers. Everybody was in place. Chris Stapleton. Do you love him? You should. This man sings with so much soul. He makes my heart race. Okay? He won an award for best. Chris Stapleton won the award for best country. They had a beautiful Latina. Well, there were a lot of beautiful Latinas there. Let me just say that. But Aymee Nuviola, and I probably screwed up her name, but she looked wonderful. She did a Latino song, you know, the Latino beat, get you moving. She had this beautiful hair. She had the flowers in her hair. She looked great. Beautiful little flowery outfit. She was wonderful as well. Olivia Rodrigo won the best new artist. And I would say, yeah, she deserves that. There's so many good new artists out there. It's too bad it's only one that can be chosen, because there are so many great new artists. Some of them I never heard, but these 5 that were there, they all were good. They all deserved to win. So, Nas. Again, I have to say the same thing about him that I said about Lenny Kravitz. How do you guys look so good? Because these guys were around, 20, 30 years ago, and they still look wonderful. Nas looks so handsome. If I was just 20 years younger, or maybe 30 years younger, or maybe 40 years younger. But they just look wonderful. And he performed great. Little Nas X, his set was very nice. He's a very handsome young man too. He had a great set as well, beautifully decorated. They did a wonderful job with all of the sets. Everybody who came out looked great. The backgrounds looked good. It was a wonderful show. I wish some of you could have seen it. A lot of people said they didn't watch. But I think music is that important, you know?
And I think even with the Oscars, when they have new artists,
Okay, but making a movie is not as accessible to many people as music is. So these young people can enter entertainment through the music pipeline faster than they can through the movies. And that's why a lot of times you see people who are musicians, they then transition to being actors. It's usually not the other way around, although sometimes that does happen. But these young people just were wonderful. And so that is the Grammy wrap up. Oh, did I? Yeah, I mentioned Bonnie. Okay. All right, so you hear more. We talk a little bit more in depth on our podcast. But now we're going to turn to the movie news. We're going to see what's happening, okay? Here we go. Nice. I hate when this happens. I'm not happy. Let's go. That's why I always have a backup. Yeah. All right, so people are upset that Louis C.K. is getting a Grammy because everybody remembers his scandal, right? It was notorious. You know, he was called a pervert, all these kind of things, you know. You know what he did, right? I'm not going to repeat it. But it was kind of, shady. All right, so I'll leave that alone. All right, and they're still talking about Will Smith. They're saying Chris Rock's brother does not accept Will's apology. And, you know, I spoke on that. I don't know if I need to go any further. What he did was wrong. We all know that. I don't know. He keeps, I think it's his people who keep saying, oh, but he was protecting black women. No, not protecting me or too many black women that I know. But how about this? If you really want to protect champion this alopecia, you guys have plenty of money. Start a foundation. Put your money where your mouth is. Give the alopecia patients money to help them. Start a foundation for alopecia and women who suffer with that type of disease. Since it hurts you so bad, and that's what you claim that that's the reason why you had to slap Chris, which wasn't really a reason to slap anyone. I've said this before, violence is never acceptable, all right? But if that's the case, let's see a foundation started and help all these women who suffer with alopecia, okay? Because the last time I saw Jada, and I said this on my other video, nobody knew that. Well, I shouldn't say that. People outside of their circle. See, this is where hubris comes in. If you have pride and big ego, you think everybody's following you. No, everybody's not. I didn't know you had alopecia, but I don't go on your Instagram every day. I don't. Yeah. All right. Britney Spears is writing a book. It's going to be called Healing and Therapeutic. I wonder why she would be writing that. Let's see now. This woman has something very interesting to say. I remember Britney Spears for years when she was trying to get control of her conservatorship, when she went on drugs, and I applaud her family for at least trying to intervene. Who knows where other artists who are now in the grave would have been had someone been brave enough to maybe do what Britney's father did. Of course, there was some kind of situation that caused her to believe that he's taking advantage of her, and it could well be true. But my point is, she's alive though. As long as you're alive, we can still work, we can still help, we can still get better. Some of these people who are in their grave now, it's too bad someone didn't take charge of their estate and make them, get off of drugs or whatever they were doing. I'm not saying she was on it, but whatever happens, someone has to be brave enough and love you enough to, administer the hard love, the tough love, Rydell. Do you guys remember Bobby Rydell? Okay, so it's been reported in a Hollywood Reporter that he's passed away. Okay, so for those of you who want to celebrate his life, he starred opposite Anne Margaret and Dick Van Dyke in Bye Bye Birdie. So if you know that and you're interested, you might want to look into that a little bit more. And our guy, Kanye West, has dropped out of Coachella. I wonder why. All right, so Kanye, we hope you're okay. Because you've been saying some crazy stuff. Nobody can really support you when you say ignorant. Nobody can really support you when you say things that are not nice and that don't make sense. So, this thing you had with Pete, was it Pete Davidson? All right, so you had a big public fight with the gentleman who's seeing your wife. He used to be on Saturday Night Live. He still is. Okay. But my point is, we can't support you when you're doing stuff like that. No. I'm sorry about your marriage. I'm sorry when anybody's marriage breaks up. Really, it's awful. But no, you can't threaten people. I don't get it, And I say this to anybody who's dating or looking for a mate, a girlfriend, boyfriend, doesn't matter what it is, right? There is somebody for everyone, I promise you. There are billions of people on this earth. You will find someone else. You got to come out your comfort zone. You may have to take a couple of chances. Maybe kiss a couple of frogs before you find your prince or princess. But there's someone for everyone. Yes. I'm a true believer in love, right to the end. Okay. All right, so Billie Eilish and Justin Bieber, I don't think they won anything. They both performed. They performed nicely. But I think some people were disappointed they didn't win anything. But these are young people. And Bieber, sorry, mispronouncing it. And Justin Bieber, he's won other things. He's won before, so it's okay. And some of you may not know him. Joe Messina was part of the Funk Brothers for Motown. All that great music you listen to on Motown. He had a lot to do with that. He's another one who passed away. It's nice to know who these older ones are, because all the music you hear today is somewhat eclectic. It's borrowed from other cultures. People are saying, oh, this has been misappropriated, or is that the word they use? But anyway, every musician has been influenced by someone before them. All of our contemporary musicians, let's say that. All right, and in the middle of the Grammys, they did have a segment in which President Zelensky of Ukraine did make a plea. He's trying to get people to get on his side to help with this war that's going on in Russia. And people say, oh, well, why do we have to have politics in these award shows? Well, get ready. Politics are involved in everything. Why? Because they affect your life, whether it be the music you listen to, oh yeah, the television you see, the movies you see. They're all going to become one. I'm sorry. They're not going to be divided anymore. And that's because of social media and so many people crossing the lines, The lines are blurred now. So you're going to always have to deal with politics, regardless of what genre of entertainment you're involved in. That's just the way it is, guys. All right, these lights are hot. So we're just going to unbutton here. So thank you for joining us. Try, if you can, to log on to our podcast. We got a special guest for you, Miss Angela. She's going to be helping us out with the podcast. And so if you have time, I'll leave the link for you. And thank you for spending time with me today. So this week now, you have the last episode of, I call it Ptolemy, but it's Ptolemy Gray. The last days of Ptolemy Gray. It's going to be on Apple TV. It's the 6th series of 6, which means it's the last episode. So if you get a chance, you might want to look at that. You have Moon Knight. The 2nd episode airs this week. So you might want to look at that if you're a big Marvel fan. And if you're going to the movies this weekend, you might want to see Sonic Hedgehog 2. Jim Carrey's back for that one again. So if that's your cup of tea. Also, the movie Ambulance is coming out. Ambulance is about a man whose wife is desperately sick, and he doesn't have the money to take care of the wife's medical bills. So he asked his brother, who's a criminal, to help him come up with the money. And of course, that's never a good idea to ask a criminal for money. You can imagine. So see if you're interested in those films. And until we meet again, it's Renee Stanley for Movie Review Relay. God bless.